The Miller Times podcast contains spoilers and excessive language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. I'm Vic Miller.
And I'm Corey Miller.
And thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Miller Times and our thoughts on this week in TV. We do want to warn you, there will be spoilers, so be sure to catch up on this week's episode before listening.
On today's show, we're going to talk Gotham, Scream Queens, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., along with American Horror Story and Empire. So let's get started.
I'd like to take a moment and thank all of our listeners that are following us on this episode from our Showdown podcast feed. Just letting you guys know that we will be creating a separate feed for Miller Times podcast. But we do thank you for joining us here and hope that you follow us over. And if you aren't listening to us on the Showdown podcast, the award-winning Showdown podcast,
hopefully
you should step over to our Showdown podcast. It's all about movies, and we do reviews and challenges. So make sure to give us a thumbs up, a like, and follow us, subscribe to our YouTube page, and we'll hopefully see you guys there. But on this podcast, Corey and I will be talking about all the goodness that is network and primetime television, and we're going to start this week off with Gotham.
Yeah, this is one of the two in today's episode that I was really looking forward to. And we'll talk about the one I was really most looking forward to later. But Gotham ended on a real high note for me as far as, oh shit, what's going to happen?
Right.
You know,
and even more so when they ended that episode, there were so many questions as to who they're going to introduce as characters that are coming from the Batman pantheon of villains, because they didn't really give you a good look at all of them. They just kind of gave you a little, you see a hand or a foot or a back or something. So there were some interesting things that could have been done with it. And I actually really like who they did pull into it. So I know that at least one of them was the Man-Bat, which was kind of cool. So, and he's an actual regular character.
Is that who that is?
Yeah,
I had no
Man-Bat.
idea.
Yeah, that's Man-Bat. And he's an actual character in the Batman thing. The dude with the spikes, I was like, are they going for a Killer Croc thing? Or,
oh, yeah.
I wasn't sure what they were going with that, but that's kind of, he was more Godzilla than Killer Croc to me, with the spikes coming out of his back. But,
yeah.
It was kind of one of those things, they could be going that route, and I think that's kind of, and because they're back so much, I think it makes it a little weird that it can't be Killer Croc,
right?
Because it's so far back in the past or before Killer Croc. But I think it could be like the genesis of Killer Croc, kind of like the genesis of Joker they were playing around with,
right?
So it's an interesting pull.
I'm curious where they're going with the whole emo Bruce. I mean,
so here's my thoughts on this whole thing.
Is there anything? I'm not familiar with DC as much as I am Marvel,
and I'm in the same boat, but I do know a good amount about some things to deal with Batman. I don't remember there being a clone of Bruce Wayne, but I think that what it'll come down to is there's going to be something where they were planning on replacing Bruce Wayne, because the Court of Owls, which is the organization that's behind all the craziness.
Right.
I have a feeling that they had plans on cloning Bruce, and that's who that is, and they were going to use him to control Wayne Industries, because they were killing off Bruce.
Good.
So
good call.
In my mind, I'm thinking they were planning on having Bruce was still going to be killed off by Azrael. Mm-hmm. And then they were going to turn around and replace him
with this other one
before anyone noticed he was gone.
But now, as far as the writing goes, you can't go that route.
Not at all.
So where do you go from there?
Yeah. I mean, it could be. They could still kidnap Bruce and flip the script on him.
I don't know. I think that whole thing is done. I think that whole storyline's done.
Yeah.
I mean, you've killed Azrael twice now.
Well, I'm not talking about Azrael. I'm talking about the court.
Well, I know.
They're gonna try to get rid of him. I mean, they sent Talon after him, which I don't know if you know who that is, but the guy that the assassin they sent after him, the Court of Owls, is basically. All right, so here's some history on the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is created as the heads of all of the big families in Gotham that created Gotham. They were like the families that signed the charter to make Gotham a place, like in the 1600s or something like that. And they created the Court of Owls, which was the head of each of those families was a secret organization like the Illuminati, who watched over and controlled everything that happened in Gotham. And over the years, they became this super secret society that nobody knew still existed.
Like the Skulls.
And they were controlling a lot of Gotham, and then they ended up weaseling their way into Wayne Corp. Not Wayne Corp. Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, Wayne Enterprises.
And they slowly, and in this storyline, they took control of Wayne Enterprises from the inside and started causing all these problems. And eventually, and this is what I thought, like when I first saw the Talons, they're like the assassins for the Court of Owls. And if you notice, he has like the mask on and everything. Like I always thought that that the Talons were kind of the genesis of Batman. Like he saw them and was like, oh,
hey,
that's what
cool.
I need to do.
I'm going to rip that off.
And I think that maybe what they're going to go with, but that's who that guy is. He's a Talon, which is an assassin for the Court of Owls. And they're usually like brainwashed zombie dudes that are like super powerful and almost unkillable because it's this weird thing. But see how far they go with it.
What do you think about Fish Mooney coming back?
You know, everybody hates her. I don't dislike her character at all. I kind of like her character. She's kind of like the Catwoman of 1966 Batman. Mm-hmm. Like she's that character to me. Like she's what Catwoman would be before there was a Catwoman. Like you know, like that's kind of her character, and I kind of like that they gave her a power, an ability other than just being, you know, the Maroni of the time.
Yeah, I've never understood why her character gets so much hate. I mean, she is what she is. Oh, what? Just because she's not in the mythology, we're going to hate on it? I swear.
You know how many things have been created outside of mythology? Everybody loves Harley Quinn. She wasn't in the original mythology, mythos of
that's the problem.
Batman.
I'm sorry. If this upsets you as a comic book fan, I'm sorry. But get over it. Things happen. Things change. Things get rearranged. Get over it. That's the thing with comic books is you've got so many different universes. You know, there's the zombie X-Men. There's non-zombie X-Men. You're okay with that, but if somebody diverts just a little bit, throws in a new character you never heard of before, you just throw your hands up in the air and say, this is all bullshit. You know what? Get over it.
So this is the thing, like with her, especially since, again, it's going back in time, and it's a time before the actual Batman villains were around.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to say that she wasn't a character.
Exactly.
And if you really think about it, if you look at her, you can see how Selena Kyle gains a lot of her attitude, confidence, and what she does when she becomes Catwoman.
Yeah.
Is a lot modeled behind
Fish
Mooney. Yeah, well, is behind Fish Mooney. Like the way that she acts and the way she thinks is a lot like Fish Mooney, and she's becoming like a little mini Fish.
Yeah,
and that's good. Like her character is great. I love that little character.
Yeah, it annoys me to all hell. And now you got me all.
I got you all riled up.
Yeah, But anyhow, what else happened on the show? You had
so you have Jim Gordon, like
vigilante Jim Gordon
has lost. Well, no, bounty hunter Jim Gordon.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
bounty hunter now.
Yeah,
he's chasing down all the. What the hell are they? The mutants, Inhuman? No, that's Marvel. Let's go with whatever the hell they are. He's chasing them down.
Operated on
the
people.
Enhanced crazy people.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with
he's
that.
going after all of them, and he is basically getting paid by the head. So everyone he brings in, he's getting money. So he's just like a full-fledged bounty hunter. He's just gone. He's gotten out of the GCPD, and
at the same time, he's working for the cops too.
Well, yeah, because they're paying him. Yeah. He's on their payroll still.
Yeah. So,
but it's fun because he's still hanging out there. Like he's just like after he's done, he's just hanging out around the place, and nobody cares. Like nobody even thinks about it. And of course, Bullock is just sitting there. And that's another thing. Like Bullock is a great character. He's a dick in the comic books. He's
actually
like
in
a
the comics.
Crooked. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
He is a crooked just ass in the comic books. Like he's just a huge, and even in the cartoons and stuff like that, he's just a crooked cop. In this, they've given him a redemption story because he's a much better character. He was still crooked, but he's a anti-hero crooked cop.
Well, I think David Logue is easy to like.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything I didn't like him in. And let me preface, not that I couldn't like him in, I should say. Yeah. Because there's been some pretty crappy characters.
I was going to say, what about Sons of Anarchy? Did you see that?
He's been some pretty crappy characters, but he's still likable. The way he plays the characters, you really enjoy his portrayal of whatever character he plays.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
one of the other characters, Selena Kyle. We briefly mentioned her. She's siding with
kitten.
Fish. Yeah. I kind of wonder, though, with this one, it seemed like maybe she was betraying... Fish a little bit.
I think she was getting played by Fish, honestly. I think knowing that she's feeding information to other people for money, and she doesn't care because she's letting her get hers.
Yeah.
I think that's where it kind of came with, because if you notice, Fish wasn't surprised when Gordon showed up.
Yeah.
And she kind of only talked to Selena was the only other person in the room when they were all talking about it.
That's true.
And none of the adults are ever going to fucking trade on Fish.
Yeah.
Because they're all scared of her.
Yeah.
So Selena had to be the only one doing it, and I think she kind of hand-fed that to her in order to get what she wanted out of it. But I also, and then they have, this whole nother storyline going on where you have Poison Ivy, or Ivy. Future Poison Ivy. You have future Catwoman. You have future Batman. As kids and the relationships at the end, but what kind of upset me was that she never noticed that emo Bruce Wayne, emo B-dubs, was hiding around that corner every time she was up there, and she's usually 100% aware of everything around her.
Yeah, especially.
And she walked up and handed him the cash too, she didn't notice.
Yeah,
at all.
well, you can attribute that to it being a dark alley, and she probably just didn't see his face because I don't think he actually looked up until after she was passing.
Maybe.
As far as on the roof, though, you would think that she might hear him.
Yeah.
Because she's cat. She's got cat senses.
Yeah, she's always aware of what's going on. Even when Bruce sneaks up on her, she's like, "Yeah, I knew you were there," and it's just weird that she's oblivious of him being there.
What's with the dude that she sent after Bruce with a mask? That ended up getting in the fight with.
Yeah, that's Talon. That's the assassin.
Okay, that's Talon.
Yeah,
that's
Talon.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the Court of Owls assassin.
Okay, gotcha.
That chick with the owl mask on that was in control of Indian Hills. She sent him, and that's one of her assassins. And there's hundreds of them, and they're zombie.
The mask was
weird things.
The mask was very Batman and Robin-ish.
I thought it was very Hornet. Like Kato, he looked like Kato to me.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah.
But yeah, and it was, and that's again that mask is kind of I think that's a precursor to the cowl. I think Bruce is going to see that, and it's always going to be kind of etched in there.
There's one thing that I don't understand too. Not only does the Fish Mooney character get a lot of hatred, but the show in itself, I think, gets a lot of hatred too.
Yeah. Well, because people are looking for a Batman story, and it's not. It's about Commissioner Gordon. It's his origin story.
Yeah, and
people need to if they remember that and stop waiting to see Batman.
Yeah.
And realize that it's about Gordon's origin story. They'll be better off.
He's not gonna be Batman. Yeah. Get over it.
But he's getting. I mean, you're seeing the things that turn him into Batman.
Yeah.
They put enough in there that you see what's gonna eventually turn him into Batman.
Right.
Happening right before your eyes. So you get to see all those things you never got to see before there was just Batman.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, this is about just get over it. Watch it for what it is.
Yes.
It's a story for
Forget
him.
all that. Just erase your mind.
Yeah.
Just go with
Let
the flow.
it go.
From there, on Tuesdays, we don't watch anything else on Mondays except for wrestling for me. But on Tuesday nights, we're going to go in daily order here. So bear with us. Scream Queens is a show that I watch. Do you watch it?
I actually didn't until you said I'm going to watch Scream Queens, so I figured I'd watch it to know what the hell was going on.
Okay. So were you totally out of the dark since you didn't see season 1?
I actually watched a couple episodes of season 1 with my daughter.
Uh-huh.
So I know what it was. I kind of understood the premise behind it. I get it. So it wasn't that much of a surprise to me, and it's this weird thing because I kind of look at it like it's a strange comical version of American Horror Story.
It is, and that's what's great about it. The whole first season was basically if you take Scream, it's kind of a modernized Scream, but with a lot of horror. With the horror tropes in it, along with comedy.
Right.
That's something that American Horror Story doesn't, which we'll talk about later. But with this one, the season 2. See, I watched the whole first season. I thought it was great. I'm Ryan Murphy. I liked Nip Tuck.
Ryan Murphy's behind the singing one too, right?
Yeah, I got bored with Glee.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was like, come on, this is ridiculous. And then there's American Horror Story. Now this, but with this one, it's basically
why did I catch that? I never caught that. That's all him.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Oh, and on a side note, he's also from Indiana. I think he's from Indianapolis.
I didn't know
that. But anyhow, with Scream Queens though, this season, it follows up. It doesn't say how many months, but or even how long it's been.
I think at some point they talk about the trial of the girls, so it had to have been at least several months.
Yeah, the girls were on trial, and then they were found out that it was Leah Michelle who was originally in Glee. She was the murderer.
Right.
She was behind it all the previous season. And so she gets arrested, and then the other 3 girls, the other Chanels, they are free to go, but of course they can't get jobs.
Their lives back.
Yeah, they're
their
all
former glory is gone.
They're sharing an apartment somewhere, and so. But then Jamie Lee Curtis's character, who was originally the dean of the schools in the first season, she is now doing. She's now a speaker. She's released a book on everything that's happened, which is hilarious to go from a dean to this. But now she's bought a hospital.
She got her honorary doctorate that she got from when they took Bill Cosby's away.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny.
So now she's bought this hospital, and it hasn't been revealed yet why she bought a hospital.
Well, it's a nonprofit. I think it's a non-profit hospital, so she can do whatever she wants with
it. But this hospital has a backstory where, what the dude from the dude from Stand By Me, and I forgot his name now.
Yeah, I can't remember.
The chubby kid from Stand By Me. He's now grown up. You've seen him before. He's actually a doctor, and in the backstory, he ends up killing this guy and throwing him in the swamp that's right on the property.
No, he doesn't kill him. He drugs him.
Well, he drugs him, yeah.
But he drugs him, and because he's supposed to do an operation he doesn't want to do because he wants to go to the party.
He wants to go to a Halloween party.
So he drugs him and throws him in the lake.
No, that's not a lake. That's a freaking swamp.
Yeah, he throws him in the swamp.
Which is hilarious that there's a swamp right on the property of a hospital. I mean, how does that happen? So anyhow, that's my theory on that is the mom in that story could be Taylor Lautner's mom. In this episode, we see Taylor Lautner later on in the episode.
Oh yeah, because it was a mixed family and she was pregnant.
Yes.
That would make a good time frame jump.
Which is funny because the first patient that they talked to, he and John Stamos, who are both doctors in this, is a girl who has werewolfism, and as everybody knows, Taylor Lautner was a werewolf in Twilight.
Right?
Haha, funny.
Yeah.
As I said, this show has jokes like that throughout, and if you're knowledgeable of other horror movies and horror tropes and whatnot, you get these little jokes. Other people may not get it.
Yeah, it's so weird, and it's weird to me the way that they do it, mainly because and like a lot of they do a lot of inside jokes that for me being like really the first time actually watching the episode, besides just kind of paying attention to what was going on in last season. Like some of the jokes are like so just flat out in your face. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it makes sense for what they're doing, and so it's actually kind of funny the way they do it.
The werewolf girl, I had no idea. I didn't realize was Cicely. Is it Cicely Tyson? No, it's not Cicely Tyson. Strong, Cecily Strong from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was her until they put the wig on. I was like, oh crap! And my wife said. I said that.
My wife.
That was, yeah, thank you.
I thought I'd added in for you.
She was like, I said that a while back. I was like, oh, I didn't hear you. And I didn't realize, especially after they shaved her head bald, I still did not realize that was her. But I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, she lured in the one girl also from the first season to be a med student as well. That was before she lured the three Chanels in because they needed jobs. She's got some kind of ulterior plan with that.
I think it's some kind of a payback scheme to like get back at him because she hated him in the first show.
Most likely.
So there's definitely no way she's good with them now. I just don't see it.
Especially when she's got Kirstie. She's telling Kirstie Alley, to ramp up the evilness.
Right.
So which Kirstie Alley being evil to me is funny in itself. I love seeing some of the cameos that they get on this show. We didn't have too many in this one.
No, but I mean, you've got Uncle Jesse.
You got Uncle Jesse.
You got Taylor Lautner is going to obviously draw 90% of the teeny boppers in because you ain't seen him in forever, except for like those the chick flicks that came out, Valentine and all that stuff.
There was something.
You haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah,
and he had a really bad action movie that came out.
Oh, that one where he was on the run.
Something like that? Yeah,
I saw that one too.
We talk shit about it, but we see the damn shows and movies, so obviously he's doing
if we hadn't seen it, we can't talk shit about it.
Right.
John Stamos, I got to say, you knew it was coming, but when he stuck his hand in that garbage disposal and the power came on, That was a bloody mess.
Right.
and sorry, but I love that.
And it's one of the most tropey things ever. Like, oh, he's in the kitchen, his hand's going in the disposal.
Yeah.
We know it's happening.
It's funny, though, too, the attitude that he was playing throughout that whole game. It was just like, oh, I'm so sad. I don't want to be here. And it's just so over the top without being over the top.
And then he kept slamming that hand and everything. Like, he kept giving them all jump scares because slamming the hand and everything, which is going to be, that hand is going to be sentient or something.
It's possessed.
Come after
him. That hand came from some serial killer, and it's going to, with the way this show goes, the over-the-topness, that's where it's going to go. You already know.
I'm just really glad they didn't make it like a black hand, because then they would have been like, oh, we have found this body and gave it a translate. Don't go there.
I mean, with the way the show is, there was a little scene at the very beginning. I think he was washing his hands, and you see this scar, and he kind of looks at it real quick, and then they kind of move on. So I was like, okay, that was a setup right there for what's to come with this hand. There was
a movie where they did that, wasn't there? Where the guy got like some serial killer's arm or something like that. I know there's a movie like that. The next episode, I'm going to find that movie. I know it's out there.
Yeah,
they did
I know
the
what you're
eye,
talking
and
about.
I think they did it was a hand or an arm or something. But I know it was there.
Yeah, another show that's on Tuesday nights that I end up having to wait to watch later because I'm watching Scream Queens because they're on at the same time is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I'm so happy with that episode, this season.
I tell you what, this show was the show I was waiting for. Mm-hmm. When I saw last week, I saw the promo during one of the football games that Ghost Rider is going to be there. I was like, whoa.
Ghost Rider is the biggest mainstay character that they've had on the show. They've never done a big name single title character on the show. Other characters have been in it and they've done cameo stuff, but they've never actually had a standalone character on the show, and he is a great character. And the fact that the fact that they didn't use Johnny Blaze was another really good pitch too.
Okay, so let me question this.
Okay.
I've seen the Ghost Rider movies with Nick Cage. I personally, I'm a Nick Cage fan because of his over-the-topness and the silliness that he can get to. Ghost Rider itself, I don't know enough about the background. Okay. You said they didn't use a Johnny Blaze character, so apparently there is more than one Ghost Rider.
There's actually a lot of different Ghost Riders and different incarnations created by different demons and archdemons from hell create these Ghost Riders. There's a whole Ghost Rider squad that's created to try to kill Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, and they just it's crazy. But
Johnny Blaze being
the Nick Cage version of Ghost Rider. Now, an interesting fact is that Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider actually comes after the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider.
Okay, so is Robbie Reyes?
Robbie Reyes is an actual Ghost Rider in comic books right now.
Right, but is that the name of this one?
Yes.
Did he ever say his name?
Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Well, when she goes and tracks him down,
right?
They tell her she finds out who he is. But this particular incarnation of Ghost Rider is, and I was kind of upset when I first saw it. I was like, oh, they're not using the actual Ghost Rider. He's driving the car instead of the motorcycle. But I was like, After I thought about it, I actually realized it's actually a much better way to do it.
See, that was my response. Yeah. That was my reaction. I'm like, oh, man. Because he's not going to have that motorcycle. I'm like, but again, I didn't realize that there was more than one.
Yeah.
So
and there's a lot of people who may not. So okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll give you the backstory and how the whole. This may be a spoiler. I don't know if this is where they're going to go in the story. They're going to stick to it, but this is the background for those of you who don't know a lot about the lore of Marvel characters. I have a very strong knowledge of comic books. I'm a big comic book geek. This particular Ghost Rider is from the Marvel Now universe, Earth 616 or 161, but this character lives in Los Angeles. In the comic books, he's a teenager, and this one it seems like he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
But his character is he lives with his little brother who's disabled, and this happened because his mom fell down, quote unquote, some stairs when she was pregnant with her brother, and that's what caused his disability. What happened was his uncle pushed his mother down the stairs and caused that to happen. His uncle is a satanic serial killer who ends up getting killed and possesses that car. So it's like Christine.
All right.
So he ends up becoming the owner of that car and gets into a street race to try to get money to get his family out of the barrio, basically.
Right.
He wants to move into a better area. So in order to do that, he tries to street race to do it. He gets a hold of this car. He drives off in the car in the street race and ends up getting chased and subsequently killed by some mobsters who had drugs hidden in the back of that car that they never got out of it before he got a hold of it.
All right.
So they end up killing him. They throw him in the car. They try to burn the body to get rid of the evidence. The spirit in the car possesses him and keeps him from dying. He becomes Ghost Rider because the car is possessed by the demon of his uncle, which he doesn't know is his uncle. It's a really tough story, but it's good. So anyway, the uncle makes a deal with him. The uncle ends up possessing him, and that's where I told you Johnny Cage, Nick Cage, Johnny Blaze comes in and ends up using his penance stare on him and gets the evil uncle under control so that he can take over. But if you notice in the story, he talks about the fact that he can't control the rider. And
right.
and it's really leading like they're following this story pretty close to me in my understanding of how it works. They're following pretty close because he can't control the rider yet. So eventually, I'm hoping that they I don't think they'll bring Johnny Blaze into it, but I think something's going to happen to where he gets control of him. But the story is very, very straightforward to what they have in the comic book, which is really impressive because usually they go really far left to try to keep it from that, but this one seems like they're really staying in that because he becomes like he's like a hero to the people in LA. Like he takes care of all the bad guys on the street. Now what's weirding me out is I don't know a whole lot about whatever's in that box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Whatever's in that box is fucking people up. Straight up.
And here's my thing though. If the people of the streets and the neighborhoods, they like what he's doing, why is she going after him?
Because he's a murderer. In her eye, he's a vigilante, and a vigilante, which technically so is she.
Yeah.
In my thing, but she saw. I don't know if she's actually going after him so much as just wanting to know what the hell he is. Because like you see a flaming skull-headed person running around killing bad guys because she was doing kind of the same thing. But
I'm out of here.
She's been trying. She's vigilante to the point of I'm going to stop you from committing crime. He's vigilante of I'm going to kill you for committing crime, and I think that's where the divide is, and that's why she's going after him because she wants to stop him from killing people and let them get caught and processed like she's been doing. But if you notice, she's gone back to her old days of driving around in the van with the hula guy, the hula girl, and just kind of doing.
Well, she's trying to stay off the grid.
She's
for
not
the most part.
She's not a cyber terrorist anymore. Now she's just a vigilante.
Yeah. Well, she's trying to stay off of S.H.I.E.L.D's radar.
Well, because they still now. This is one thing I was kind of confused about. Did they end last season with her a fugitive or?
No, I think. See, they ended it with they were watching her,
right?
But they didn't really do anything.
But is that only because Coulson was in control of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time, or is that because they're not looking at her as a threat?
I think they were just keeping an eye on her.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Which, and then, we actually should go back and talk about the other people.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. I was going to say, obviously Coulson is no longer director.
Yeah, he's just Agent Coulson.
Yes, he's just Agent Coulson, which I like.
Not even Special Agent Coulson, just Agent Coulson. Yeah. He's just like, fuck it, I'm going to, demote me.
Who do you think the director is?
I have no idea.
I've got an idea.
Do you?
Yep.
Who?
I think it's Fury.
Spoiler alert! What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
He trusts him too much to really put him through that, though. And
Who?
Think about what he's doing. Coulson. Because think about this. So he's got Gemma is now his like second in command, and she's like his advisor to technical whatever and ever. Because I can't remember what she said it was. Fitz is still working with her. Mm-hmm. So Mac is with Coulson. In the in the super bus, flying around for 6 months. Which this is how it was 6 months since all this went down. They've been flying around for 6 months, just finding other Inhumans. Okay, so they're doing that. May is stuck in the actual training center training agents.
Yeah.
I think that if it was Fury, he has more confidence in May and Coulson to just like be like, yeah, you guys.
But see,
you're all demoted.
But because he knows what kind of agent that May is and how she's able to that she's got the ability to train people to her level. I think that's why he's doing that.
I think there's just too much mistrust. Okay, so Gemma.
Who else could it be though?
But Gemma has to report in and do a lie detector every day with him to make sure that there's nothing being hidden from him. Uh-huh. That doesn't smell of.
But think about how it
Fury.
went down. In Captain America 2. Yeah, in Captain America 2, he basically, quote unquote, died.
Yeah, went off the grid.
Yeah,
he did what Daisy's doing
because of people he couldn't trust.
But by the end of that, he was still doing the same thing. He hadn't come back. But also remember, at the end of last season, the government had found out about that base and had taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. They don't trust Fury at all. Nobody in the government wants Fury to have anything to do with anything after what happened in Captain America 2. So it's one of the government stooges. I don't think it's the general.
If not,
it's one of those government stooges.
If not Fury, then the one chick that was just below him from How I Met Your Mother.
What's her name? Why is her name not coming to me now? It's a bird. I can't remember what her name is now.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway,
her. It's one of those two.
I could possibly see it being her
because they're keeping,
and they haven't shown her either.
Not for a while. No, I mean it was probably 2 seasons ago, maybe.
What if it's the one that went and worked for Stark?
Yeah,
Hill.
That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Hill. You're thinking Hill.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Mockingbird.
Oh, no, it wouldn't be her.
Yeah, it could be,
but no, because she's done.
Yeah, they say that until they say, "Hey, we want you to be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. so things are done correctly." She's a by the book person.
Very true, but
she's willing to torture her own people to follow instructions, as Gemma learned.
Well, I think Maria Hill. That's her first name. I think it's either her or Nick Fury because I don't think it
could be. I'm with you on the Hill thing. I don't
think it's going to be something we've never seen before. Only because they're keeping it so quiet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That'll be the big push for next week. But
I didn't see the previews for next week, so. There's nothing.
They didn't show anything. I think they're keeping a secret.
See, I watch it all on Hulu, and most of the time they don't show it.
Yeah, they kicked that out. But it's going to be an interesting push to see what happens, and the Ghost Rider thing is going to get really good. I think I hope so. Good.
I hope so. And a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people that like the Marvel movies, I don't think that they're really hip to this show.
It's because they have a very strong and definite separation of church and state when it comes to the TV universe versus the MTU versus the MCU are so separated except for Coulson.
Yeah.
Coulson and Maria are kind of they do cameo stuff, but they're not letting those two worlds collide because they don't want agents to interfere with what's going on with
right. And that makes sense, But at the same time, though, there are things that happen on agents that has a bearing on the movie world.
And vice versa, because they even talk about the Accord in this one, and they talk about
Ultron.
Yeah, they talk about Ultron. So all of it is still there. Like they're connected because they happen in the same time frame in the same universe.
Right.
But they're not connected, as in you're going to see one character going to the TV show to the movies, other than Coulson probably.
Yeah.
And even with him, it's only going to be cameos from now on.
And those people the people that say bad things about the show, like, they're just saying that just to make it some kind of connection, just so they can say that they did, but it doesn't mean anything. They didn't have to put that in there.
Well, they did, because that explains what Coulson and Mac are doing.
Yeah.
Coulson and Mac are flying around finding other Inhumans to make sure that they understand that their responsibility to the Accord.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, then they get imprisoned.
Yeah.
So I mean that's 100% Civil War right there.
As somebody that's watched it from day one and not missed an episode, I'm totally down with this show, and I firmly believe that everything that happens on this show has a bearing on what happens in the movie version and vice versa. And if you don't if you don't like it, if you disagree with me, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Another show.
But he's right. That's what he's saying.
Now we jump to Wednesdays. American Horror Story.
All right.
Do we want to go with that one, or do we want to go the other show?
Let's go the other show first. Let's save American Horror Story, because there's so much to talk about.
Oh, there's so much shit I can talk about both these shows. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going with Empire first. Now,
Corey, the whitest of white, watching Empire. I can only imagine that conversation.
Now, here's my history with the show. I've seen just about every episode, begrudgingly. I have not.
Hold on, who forced you to watch this?
My wife.
My wife.
Here's the thing. She likes the show. She likes Terrence Howard.
What?
Yeah, I know.
As Little John would say?
I know. I know you don't like him.
Oh, my God. That man makes me mad.
I watched the first episode going, okay, I'll watch. This was, when it first aired. I'm like, this show is so fucking stupid. It's so... The dialogue is terrible. The acting is over the top. The actions are... It's ridiculous. So I end up... It's either go upstairs and find something else to watch, or sit there and play on my phone while it plays on TV and she watches, and I make snarky remarks during the entire time. That's what's happened for the last 2 seasons now? Are we on season 3?
We're on season 3, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's happened ever since then, and it does not get any smarter. This show is getting dumber and fucking dumber.
So I disagree with you on that, obviously.
I'm sure.
Obviously.
As do millions of people that watch this on a weekly basis.
Because it's still around 3 seasons in.
Exactly.
It's a soap opera. I mean, it's if you ever watch any soap opera ever, it's all over the top. It's all overactive. Yeah. It's all just ridiculous writing. It's all stupid. I know something. I'm not going to tell anybody else. But if I told them, it would solve all the problems. But I'm just going to keep it to myself. That's every soap opera ever created. And all this is a nighttime soap opera. Yeah. And if you remember and look at it that way, it makes it easier to watch. Because I also believe that there are certain things in this show that just piss me off. And I'm like, I'm not watching this anymore. And then it comes on, I watch it again. And it happens again. But there's just little pieces. There's stories in this thing that I love. Jamal's story and his fight and like how strong he is when he needs to fight against Lucius. He gets like this spine of steel and he just wants at him. But then he breaks down every time. And that's when I get mad at him.
Dinner with him at the end of the episode.
Because the bottom line to it for him is he's all about his family. Like for him, it doesn't matter what's happened. He always forgives his family in the end because they're family. And he loves all of them differently, but he loves all of them and he doesn't want to see his family fall apart. And unfortunately, he, to me, is the glue that binds that family together. Because if you think about it, so Lucius just fucks with everybody. Fucking little brother.
I don't remember their names.
Okay, so Jamal and Dre. Jamal is taking care of Dre. Whenever Dre goes off, Jamal is the one that goes and finds him and helps him come back to gain some semblance of his sanity. Whenever little brother takes off, he's the one that goes and gets him and brings him back. He's literally the glue that holds that entire family together. And when it comes down to it, he's the one that takes all the brunt of everything that happens and tries to make things work out. So his story is probably the best one in there. I don't like the way they deal with it. I don't have to deal with schizophrenia myself or bipolar disorder in my life, but I just feel like there's a lot of shit that they just seem to be making like...
You knew it was coming in that episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, most definitely. Oh, definitely. I knew Ghost Rhonda was going to pop up and just fuck his day up.
Yeah. I mean, this dude's been fucked up since
the
first season.
If you haven't watched yet, Rhonda's dead.
Yeah. Which
it's like she got hit in the head with a Chucky a good guy hammer and fell 5 stories onto a truck.
Oh my God. I mean, seriously. She fell off. She fell off the building. It's in front of many people, and then the next day it's like, oh, I got these guys coming in. Let's let's talk business.
It's
ridiculous. Like they totally forgot about it. It's like
there's no funeral.
No,
there was no funeral. Like what did they do with her?
Did we? Now see, here's the thing. You could always say, well, they just didn't show that. There was nothing for them to. There's
no time frame.
Yeah.
There's nothing there that says, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days later, we had a funeral for this woman. There's nothing.
It's ridiculous. You go from her dying in one scene to the next day, or you assume the next day. Lucius has got guys flying in by helicopter and they're playing cards. It's like, hi.
It was a boat.
Whatever.
It was on a boat.
It's like It's like we don't even care.
Yeah,
she died, but who cares?
But you know what? That's Lucius. Like, and there's
but nobody else gave a shit either.
Well, you don't.
The only one that gave a shit was the guy that was married to her.
Right.
Everybody else is like, sorry about your wife, dude.
So
I know she died in front of us, but sorry.
The series of events, and it starts off like literally minutes after it ended, which I like that. Like I like when shows just kick off right where they end. And you have Lucius and everybody pouring out of the freaking wedding hall. He's married to his son's baby's mama, and his son runs off. The first fucked up part is that she's having a kid with his ex stepmom.
Yeah.
So either way. Like that baby is his grand stepdaughter.
Yeah, it hurts my head to think about it. This is why I say this show is fucking ridiculous.
But that's the ridiculousness is what's enjoyable about it. The entertainment value for it. So the music is good. Like I like the music that they do, and in a lot of his original compositions for the shows. Like
what was it? Season 1, that drip drop drip
drippity drop.
Oh my god! I was about to stab my ears out.
Dude, that was fire. What are you talking about?
No, it was fire. It was burning my ears. It was so fucking horrible. And then of course my wife has to as it goes to commercial, she starts doing it just to irritate me. I'm like, oh my god, it was bad enough.
Oh dude, I would have loved to have heard her doing that.
Oh my god.
I think I'm going to record her doing it just so I can play it as a drop on you.
Oh Jesus! But the only song that actually has been decent was the one that Jamal did in this episode when Exhibit came in and he changed the beats.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's not that bad.
All I kept thinking was
still kind of annoying.
The only thing that I could think the entire time watching that when Suge Knight Shine walks in, because that's So he walks in and he's like he starts talking shit about his music and everything, beats up his engineer, his sound tech, and then the next day everyone's like, all right, yeah, just let him in. Yeah. And he comes in, he does a song, which it was good. Like what he did was really good. My problem with the whole thing was like, okay, nobody, like all this stuff happens and everybody's just like, all right, well, we'll just keep rolling with it. And they do. But then my problem with this episode was when he does his freedom song for Frida, when Jamal sings, when they're practicing the song and the girl's in the background, like in his shadows.
Yeah.
And he starts freedom. They rhyme Philando with Orlando.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's in there. Like they start talking about Trayvon, all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I understand the whole point. It's a quote unquote black show, and they want to throw some stuff in there, the current whatever. But how are you going to mix the police brutality fight argument hullabaloo with black on black crime hullabaloo in one song? Because the whole song is about freeing Frida Gatz, who shot him for no good reason, because if she was going to shoot somebody, she should have shot Lucius, which, oh my Lord, I wish she hadn't done that.
Now, let's pause right there for a second. That was another storyline that we just jumped time.
Well, yeah, but...
Because she shot him, and then like the next episode, he's out of the hospital already, he's fine.
Well, no, she didn't hit him. She didn't hit him anywhere really that bad.
No,
she got him. She got him in the side meat, and you can get shot straight through there and just plug it up. But
it was just one of those.
The time frame for that actually was a couple days. He was in the hospital. Then he was in the hospital another day, and then by the third or fourth day, they were wheeling him out to take him home for rich people can be convalesced at home. They get doctors and everybody else will come to them. So
I guess so.
But by the time it all comes around again, it's been, it's obviously been months since all this happened because she's been tried and convicted. She's in jail. And I guess Lucius was supposed to go to her aid for her legal counsel or something and didn't do it. So she got convicted and he's pissed at him about that. And now he's trying to get her freed because he knows the only reason why she shot him was because he was mad at his dad.
It's
like that whole thing is just it blows your mind because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why they don't do something. Like I understand he likes her. He feels something. He feels a kindred spirit to her for some reason. I'm not quite sure what it is, but he wants her freed even though she shot him. But mixing those two things, I don't understand why they would do that.
When he started having these flashbacks or whatever it was.
Oh, it's PTSD?
Yeah.
That made a lot of sense to me though.
When he left the stage and she started to come to the fore, I go, oh, here it is.
Nessa jumps up there and takes the mic.
You should have known this was coming. I should have seen this coming. Why did I not? Yeah, I'm just like, oh, God.
And, of course, Lucius takes it like the worst way possible. Oh, my God, you let her do that. Now he's got leverage on me. Like, no, he doesn't. Just don't let her do it again. It's his song. He wrote it. He was supposed to perform it. She stole it. It's not like she has any rights to it. Just don't let her have it.
Yeah.
Tell her you can never sing that song again, and it's over.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what you attribute that to?
What?
Bad writing.
Yeah. We also have we didn't talk about the family reunions that were happening throughout the entire episode. So the three sisters are together drinking wine.
Yeah, and, I didn't pay attention to that scene.
So that whole part, let me go into that. That whole part, the sisters get together every once in a while and they talk like they actually like each other, even though I don't think Cookie likes either one of them. She just deals with them because they're family. And that's the biggest thing for them, is to keep their family, around. So they're all talking about things, past and all this stuff. And then they start bringing up Lucius's half brother, which I can't remember his name right now at all, the Fed.
Yeah.
So he starts bringing up his half brother, and they start talking about him like so obviously. I'm like, all right, so they're wearing wires, is what I thought. I was like, they got wires on. They're trying to get her to say something to incriminate Lucius. And then she gets up and realizes, she's like, y'all are talking way too much about this dude. And she goes to leave, and he's standing in the hallway. I'm like, really? This guy, he's operating outside of his purview as a Fed, obviously.
Most likely, and especially when you see at the end of the show. The
don't skip the dinner.
Don't
skip the dinner. The dinner was awesome. It was like he was on Comedy Central, dude. He was roasting all of them. until Jamal pulls a B rabbit and roasts himself.
Yeah,
and then he'll talk about my mama. I was dying, dude, the whole time.
I don't understand why he was even there in the first fucking place.
Because Lucius was trying to bribe him. He was trying to look, I can give you all kinds of money. You can be part of this family. You don't have to do this to us. You just call it off, and I'll take care of you.
You don't do that. You don't. If you're gonna bribe somebody, not that I've ever had that experience, you don't do that in front of other people.
Dude, you know that he knows for a fact this dude is doing this shit outside of his legal.
Yes, but you don't do it in front of anybody else.
Lucius does whatever he wants. He thinks he's above the law, so he's going to do it to whoever and wherever he wants because he thinks that they can't do anything about it. And he's not there in a legal capacity. He's not there as a Fed. He's invited to a family meal. And as soon as it goes to trial and they find out that he's actually family, you're going to have a mistrial anyway. Because they're going to say that it's out of spite because he made it and he didn't, and that kind of thing. So.
Here's the thing. I want to go back to the nanny cam. That is the dumbest fucking scene.
I can't figure out how when he got it in there.
That's the first part. How did he get that in there? Because there's people all over that place that would have seen him.
Yeah.
Even if the family wasn't there.
Right.
Because they've got butlers, they've got whoever. Also...
So I did have one thought as to when he could have gotten it there. When he went to see her in the hospital. He went to see her in the hospital and has a bear and is like, here's for the baby. You should tell me what happened.
Okay.
I can see that's the only thing I could see.
I can see that happening.
I'm pretty sure it was an nanny cam, though, when you picked it up.
Probably. It's not soft. But Lucius talking to the baby like he's just having this regular conversation and basically giving himself away. Who the fuck
I don't think he actually said anything that gave himself away. I rewatched that scene to see if he actually said anything to incriminating, and he skirted on a couple things, but he didn't actually say anything.
Yeah, but who
directly.
Does that?
Lucius, he ain't got nobody else to talk to. Nobody else likes Lucius. I hate Lucius. I hate Lucius. I hate Terrence Howard.
I was going to say, you hate Terrence Howard, so you're biased there.
But in general, I do greatly enjoy this show. As much shit as it can be talked about it. And the funny part is I know that a lot of people that really like this show end up talking the same shit about it that I do. But we still watch it every freaking week. So,
the last show we're going to talk about is also on Wednesday nights, and that is American Horror Story.
Oh. Okay, so I have seen every single episode of American Horror Story since it started. My son is now catching up on every single episode of American Horror Story, and I think he's in what do you say? He's in The Coven right now.
Okay.
I think he's got 4 more episodes of The Coven to go. My favorite season right now is Freak Show. That was ultimately my favorite one so far.
I teeter between that one and the first season.
Yeah, well, the first season, it's going to have something special there because they're so new and weird and awesome, but
which is why I still put it up there at the top.
I think that they surpassed themselves with Freak Show because they not only, obviously they use the same characters on every season, they just give them different things. It's different time frames every season so that you can have the believability of this is the same person but in a different time. So it could technically be a different person.
There are subtle crossovers as well too.
Like Pepper in Freak Show.
Right.
Where they throw her all the way back to Asylum.
Right.
Which is actually a number of years prior.
Yeah.
And then, like, those stories are so, like, the way they intertwine them and still have them be, you have a different character playing another character in another flashback.
Yeah. If you're not paying attention, it can get a little confusing at times. This one starts out, in the first episode, we've gotten through two episodes so far.
Yeah, we'll have to cover two.
Yeah. With the first episode, you start out and it's like the talking head because you realize that it's like one of those shows from like Sci-Fi Channel or whatever where there's all these reenactments. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, fuck.
You thought that was a downfall?
Yes. I was like, I seriously was like, I already hate the season. And it had only been 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is
so
going to go
quick to judge.
Yeah, because I hate it. I don't like watching those shows.
You don't like actual reenactment shows?
No, I hate them because they're so bad.
That's my mindset on found footage films.
And now you're going to sit there and make an entire season based on a reenactment.
But you like found footage films.
Not all the time, no. I didn't like Blair Witch. Remember that?
Well, that's true. Still, there's been a number of found footage films that you are very good, that you very like a lot.
The only one was Chronicle.
VHS?
It was all right.
Yeah, see? I mean, I don't know.
It was all right. But it's not like
it's
this.
Weird.
But the found footage films are different than reenactment shows.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and those are so, when they're on TV, they're so over the top, it's annoying. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to have a full season of this. And then we find out the reenactment for the main black character in the show, the husband, is Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It's cracked me up.
Wow. How the fuck did that happen?
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Well, they pull some people in. They've had some pretty good cameo stars.
It's almost like, well, he was in that OJ show that was was it on USA or was it on FX?
I want to say it was on FX.
I think it was on FX, which is American Horror Story.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I'll do this if I can be on American Horror Story. I don't know if that's really what happened. But here's what's funny. You find out also in that episode that his sister is played by Angela Bassett, who we've seen in previous seasons.
Yep.
Okay, so that's no surprise, but think about this, and I tweeted this out. In Boys in the Hood, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s mom was played by Angela Bassett, and now she's playing his sister. Wow.
Well, that's what happens when he got out of the hood.
Yeah, apparently so. But yeah, and then this, and Gooding along with her character in the second episode, she gets her daughter.
Yeah.
For the weekend.
Well, let's rewind a little bit. Okay. So the first episode, we find out that this couple, they're a mixed couple. They love each other immensely. They're hated by all of their friends because of how much they love each other and how great their relationship is. Until they're walking down the street and this stupid thing that is an actual thing that happens, that's been happening in real life, a knockout. He gets knocked out, and it's an initiation and sometimes just a prank that people play on people walking down the street. They just walk up and hit them as hard as they can. If they knock them out, then they're in, or the prank goes well, which this drives me absolutely nuts because I'm telling you, someone tries that shit on me, it's going to be an issue. But that's something that's been done a number of times in a number of different shows. There's been, I think, what's the FBI one where they have the profilers? Yeah, they've done it with that. They've done it with a number of other shows. But they knock him out. He breaks his orbital socket. He ends up in the hospital for a certain amount of time. They decide they're not safe there, so they move back to his hometown, or they move back to his home state, I should say. It was North Carolina, and decide to start their life there. And they find this old ass house in the woods, which is ridiculous. Like, I would walking into that place, I'd have been like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's like, this was so beautiful. No, it's fucking creepy. Have you never seen Amityville Horror? Have you never seen Exorcist? Have you never seen any of those
And it
shows?
looks like those houses, every one of them. And
stay away.
Then, like, look, this looks like an old plantation house. Okay, first of all. And that thing is a mansion. It's huge.
Yeah.
And they only wanted $24,000 for it. So right there, Starting bid $24,000. I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm out because something's buried underneath of this place. There's going to be a poltergeist situation. I'm out.
And there's only 2 of them. You don't need that big of a house for the 2 of you.
Right. I don't care if you are making a family.
Jeez. And this
and the only other bidders are a bunch of hillbillies that live in the woods behind your house.
One of them played by Chaz Bono.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either until I was reading through tweets, and they said that one of them was Chaz Bono.
Son of a bitch. Now I'm going to go back and look and see.
Yeah, it wasn't the one that was talking. There were 3 of them.
There was
the
one standing by the back of the truck.
Yeah, it was standing by the truck.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know if he's going to show up again. But yeah, and then she starts having... He goes away because he's a traveling salesman. Which are there really traveling salesmen anymore?
He's not a traveling salesman. He's a pharmaceutical rep.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's plenty of those.
Okay, yeah, I know. I don't know why.
And he was only going to the city, which is 2 hours outside of where they live.
So this means they're in Podunk Town.
Oh yeah, they're in Bumblefuck.
Where the hell did they find this place?
That's what I'm telling you. Like she must have been on like backwoods like Craigslist.
And it had a hot tub. Because he leaves,
it did.
She sits out in the hot tub. It's like, wait a minute. How long is this house has had to have been sitting there for years?
Well,
and it's got a hot tub that's clean.
Other people have lived there. They don't know any of the backgrounds behind it, and it wasn't a modern hot tub.
Well, you find out in the second episode that there was a guy living there, and I believe it was the dude that used to be on True Blood, but I can't be sure because he had a beard. But he was living there. He wasn't using that hot tub.
He was still living there.
I'm sure he didn't clean the hot tub.
When they moved in, he was still living there. If you think about the way they track this whole thing, okay? So when you get to the point where they find like the creepy ass. Okay, hold on. I'm going way too fast. So the daughter shows up. They invite the daughter comes over to stay with them for a little while. The father comes to pick her up, and she's hiding upstairs in that top badass, like that top room up there. Yeah. Like I would live in a house like that, not that house. Yeah. But the design of that house is awesome because that top room is pretty cool. They go up the spiral stairs, and they find her hiding inside of a storage closet. And inside
very
that storage
reminiscent
closet,
to Paranormal Activity.
Yes. And that storage closet, the daughter is sitting in there talking to somebody. They open the door, and she's like, where'd she go? And you're like, who? And they're like, the girl in the funny dress. And she's like, what girl in the funny dress? She's like, the one that I was trying to bargain not to kill us all. And she's like, what? She's like, I was trying to give her my baby doll so she wouldn't kill us. And they said they're going to save me for less. And the father blames the mother for this.
Yeah.
And tears off downstairs, takes off with the daughter, which throws her over the edge. She starts drinking again.
Yeah.
Now, this is all after what? She had... a bunch of people show up in their house. Something dragged her underneath the water in the hot tub. She heard a noise in the house. There was
this is not Angela Bassett's character.
Yeah, no, this is just what's happened at the house, mostly to the wife. The pig noises outside and the strange things out there. Men with torches outside the house, them getting locked in the basement and coming out, and there's the whole...
After watching a TV... No, don't forget about what they saw in the basement, was the TV comes on, and it's some dude, like, praying or begging for his life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
then you got Blair Witch going on up above when they come out.
I'm like, are you guys really taking every possible trope of horror that's happened in the past 12 years and putting it into this show?
They do that with every season, though.
It's crazy.
I mean, seriously, in the one you liked in the Freak Show one, there was actually an entire scene that is taken right from the movie Freaks.
Yeah.
So this show is not. It doesn't have a problem stealing stuff from other things and then calling it an homage,
right?
Which I'm guilty of it myself in writing, but that's not the point. My shit hasn't been seen. This one's on national TV,
so they're more guilty than you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing all sorts of stuff, and like with the pig head, that's taken from Motel Hell, and I'm sure there's some other movies out there as well too that did the same thing. So it's like they're just taking all this shit and just throwing it in a blender.
Yeah,
we already mentioned Paranormal Activity as well too, and fuck it, you can call it Amityville Horror as well too.
Yeah, because she's like the knives in the ceiling, and
that was Paranormal Activity.
Right?
I think they did it on that too. It's just like, oh my god,
they're throwing it all at us, they're throwing it all at them, and it drives them insane. Her more so, the wife more so. What is her name? What is the wife? Who's the wife in it? I can't remember her name.
The actress?
Yeah,
Sarah Paulson.
Okay, so
she plays the reenactment actress.
Yes,
and then it's,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The reenactment. Now, the actual people that it's supposed to happen to, I don't even consider them part of the story.
No, you see them for like maybe a minute and a half.
What's funny though is Angela Bassett's the sister. Did they have somebody else playing Angela Bassett?
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't. I thought it was the same one.
And I don't remember where I've seen her before, but I've seen her before.
She looks just like her though.
She looks similar to it. There's probably one.
They're talking like they're trying to figure out what's going on. They see a little girl outside their window, and Sarah Paulson's like, "Do you see her?" And Cuba's like, "Yeah, I see her." Because this is the first time they've actually seen things together. Like every time something happens, it happens separately. Like he had the hallucination of the old woman being killed down in the parlor, and then writing the M on the wall. Which we have no idea what's going on with that until they see the little girl standing out in the yard, and they go out there to try to find her, and they find a trap door. Now this is what I've stitched together from this. They go down there, they find that video camera.
Yeah.
Okay. They bring it back, they hook it up to their TV, which luckily enough they had the connections for it.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I'm surprised I didn't.
That is a very old VHS recorder.
Yeah.
And so luckily they had the wires connected up. They watch the video, and you see that it's the guy that she saw them scalping in the woods.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that guy was living down in that basement circa when they moved in. Because they found him, and they were chasing him down, and they caught him, and that was only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is after they moved in. So between the first and second episode. So that dude was literally like, he was probably walking around their house in the middle of the night because it was his house. But then he said he sold the house, but he didn't move.
He's like Hugh Hefner tried to do this. He wanted to sell his house, but he's like, I'm still going to live here.
The contract says that I have to live here until I die.
Yeah.
Even if it's in your house. But and I get to use the grotto whenever I want.
Yeah.
or should I say the DNA pool? If you want to clone anybody in Hollywood, just dip some water out of that thing and pour it in a petri dish, and you could probably make anybody this weird amalgamation of every superstar ever created.
I don't even want to think about that.
The gelatinous ooze that would come from that.
God, that water would not pour out; it would just kind of like ooze out. That's so gross.
But yeah, so they watch this video and they see what's been happening, and
Sarah Paulson's character finally bones the fuck out. She's like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Smartest thing you've done.
That like a long time ago.
I would have done that the first day. I would have never bought that house.
Right.
I would have known better. If I've got 3 rednecks trying to bid on something and they're giving me the evil eye the entire time, if I win, they're probably going to kill me. If the ghosts inside don't, I'm out of here.
Yeah. And they're like, we're going to lose all of our money. You only spent $30,000 on
that
house.
Who gives a shit?
I'd lose the $30,000 at that point.
Yeah.
I'd be done.
I'd call it a loss and get out.
Be like, look, sell this for $15. We'll take that. I'm gone.
Yeah, I don't care.
The bank dude is like, nope, sorry. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there are laws that say they have to let them know that there's been a murder in that house. I'm almost positive that there are actual real estate laws that say they have to tell people
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure they have to divulge that.
I think they do.
I could be wrong.
We need to look that up for next episode.
I could be wrong.
I want to know.
But yeah, it's like even when you go back to the bank guys say, okay, we want to sell the house, putting it back up on the market, and get out.
Yeah.
That's all they got to do.
They have money.
They're not stuck there.
No, not at all.
You're going to take a hit on the house, but hey, you're still alive.
Yeah. You're still a pharmaceutical rep. You have money. Go.
But she ends up leaving and accidentally hits Kathy Bates.
Yeah,
who we've seen in previous seasons as well too. And so she starts. Of course,
she's the mom of the Satanist people.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on yet with that one. She ends up trying to follow him, and the whole time she's yelling, "Hello!" And she's got her flashlight going around. Hi, here's an idea. It's dark. You just hit some lady you can't find anymore, and you come up on some burning torches. Turn your light out.
Yep.
Turn around.
Yep.
Walk the fucking other way.
Look for the lights on the car because they were still on. So here's my problem. I'm driving down the road. I'm scared to fuck. I hit something. I stop. I get out because it's a responsible thing to do. Don't run off. Try to find what you hit. Make sure maybe it was just an animal. Maybe you're all right. Okay, she figures out it was a person because the bitch gets up and looks at her, walks into the woods. At that point, that bitch is fine. I'm out.
You're cool. I'm out.
I'll call the ambulance on the way to wherever the hell I'm heading, but I'm heading that way and I'm gone.
I'll say, yeah, she's in the woods somewhere.
It's like, look, I hit some bitch and she got up and walked into the woods and I could not find her. I'm just letting you know it was about mile marker what the hell ever next to my house. Call me when you find her. I'll come in.
I'll ID her and then I will leave because that bitch ain't right. So
that cop pisses me off too. Like that cop knows what's going on.
Oh
in that
yeah,
fucking town.
he's fully in
and
on
he
this.
knows what's happening, and he's not doing jack about it. If I were them, yeah, it is.
That's a horror trope in itself.
Absolutely.
I mean, the cops knows what, but he's playing stupid.
Yeah.
That happens in every horror movie that are set in small towns. You pick one up off the shelf, it's gonna happen.
As you call the FBI.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess. FBI wouldn't necessarily be in on it, but
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not thinking they would be.
If they've got deep roots, it could be. So, is there anything else in there that you?
Oh man, it's like there's so much in there. Oh, so she kidnaps her kid. We forgot about that.
Oh yeah,
she kidnaps her kid, and the kid disappears completely.
Yeah.
So there's a problem there because as they're and again. You know there's weird shit going on in this house.
Why would you
take her to another room
Yeah.
that you've seen shit happening in and leave her there by herself unsupervised?
There was one other thing I wanted to mention about the murder thing on the wall.
Yeah.
I wondered, my first thought was when they said that they didn't finish it because the R was missing, I was like, what's Cuba's sister's name? And I thought it was going to be her. But it wasn't.
I'm thinking back that they're going to swing this back around to Asylum somehow because it's a time frame.
Oh, true.
Think about what that whole time frame looked like, and that time, like those nurses and everything, it's going to swing back to Asylum somehow. I'm not sure how, but I know it will. But my other thing was like, little girl, lesson number 1: when you're sitting in a closet talking to a ghost that's told you she's going to kill you and save you for last, don't go play with the little girl in the woods. It's a bad idea. Like, I'm going to tell, like,
kids are stupid.
No.
Okay, I'll clarify for those kids that may be listening. Kids in horror films are stupid.
Because that would be my first thing. That's why my drive to survive would say, I'm not playing with you. I'm staying right here. You come in here to me. So at least everyone will hear what's going on. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this show. My history with the show is I quit watching halfway through the Asylum season. Got bored with it. There was too many fucking storylines going on, and it was just like, this is ridiculous. Pick a storyline and stay with it. I think I may have missed a couple episodes in one of the later seasons.
Did you finish Freak Show?
I think I finished it. Yeah, but overall, it's just like. It's starting to. I'm glad it's the last season.
Hotel was a really big elephant that I had to take down piece by piece.
I liked Hotel.
Oh, it was rough because I mean it was The Shining.
Yeah,
and I liked The Shining.
Here's the thing: a lot of that stuff is based on something that really happened. I think it was in Chicago. There was a guy that bought the hotel and he died in the hotel, and that's where a lot of those stories were taken from, like the girl dying in the bathtub. That really did happen, and I believe it was in that hotel. So they took some stuff from there. So I give that season a little credit. I give but there were some things that I was just like I didn't really care about. But Evan Peters killed it in that season.
It was just like I was like. It's so hard to do, dude. Yeah. It was so hard. That's what they say you have to do. If you're going to eat an elephant, piece by piece.
So those are all the shows that we watched this week that either premiered or, in the case of American Horror Story, premiered the week before. We do have a couple. There's a couple other ones that have not premiered yet. Of those, what are you looking forward to?
Honestly, Arrow and Flash are two huge ones for me. Yep. Supergirl is another one. I'm very interested to see how they do her now. They switch her over, and that they're putting Superman in it. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes. Not to mention Arrow and Flash and Supergirl are like my wife's number one TV shows that I will never be able to not watch. So.
I think with Supergirl now, I haven't seen the first season yet. Because,
oh really?
Yeah, it was on CBS.
My son hates it. I'm okay with it for its comic book value.
I saw the trailer and I thought this looks like a teeny something for teens, a CW show, which it's on CW. Go figure. But I'm just like, I don't know about this one. And I think it was on was it on Thursday night?
I think so. It's. I think this season, because they've switched it over to CW, they're gonna make it a little bit harder. It was kind of cream puff to me before.
I think having not seen the first season, I think but knowing how Arrow and Heroes of Tomorrow and Flash.
Oh, that's the other one, Heroes of Tomorrow.
I think that they're going to end up making it a little bit more darker, bringing that universe into this universe, and because this universe is already somewhat dark, I think you're going to see it toned down
with Flashpoint happening. Basically, what the whole storyline,
everything is up for reset.
Yeah, again, I'm a big comic book geek. Flashpoint is one of my favorite stories when it comes to DC, and that reset is going to allow them to do a lot of stuff with a lot of things that I think are going to be interesting. But unfortunately, I heard that Flashpoint is only kind of like the onset of the season.
Yeah, it's
not going to run through, season. Which is fine, because if they really went with Flashpoint, it would be really hard to watch. But I think that it's going to give them the ability to make Supergirl a little bit of a not her darker, but give her more of an edgy enemy base and allow them to do a little bit more. I don't know how I feel about the Superman thing though. I'm kind of on the fence about that whole thing.
Did they announce who's going to play him?
Yeah, they it's out there. I forgot who it was, but he's
I wish they would have brought in one dude back from Smallville.
Yeah, my wife does too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it
would have made some good sense.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, they're always bringing characters back.
You had Supergirl in Smallville, and it would have been kind of weird. I think because you also had Arrow and Kid Flash and all those in there too, so it's kind of a weird thing. I don't think they could get away with doing it again quite the same way. But
I think this is a whole new DC universe. Smallville obviously is not part of it, so having him come on as Superman it would just confuse people, even though it really shouldn't.
Well, he is
Tom Welling.
Yeah. I'm thinking he's. Why am I thinking that he's in one of these shows as somebody?
No, I don't think so. They may be rumored that he's
there's
going to.
Somebody, I can't remember who it was, and my wife will answer this question for me like in 10.2 seconds flat. There's somebody from Smallville in one of the four shows. I can't remember who it was, and I think that it's Supergirl. I'll know next week. I'll have to ask her. But I mean, and those four are like a big push, and I think they're going to be a really good season. They're going to be really good seasons. And I think the Flashpoint Paradox hitting all of those shows together is going to be a really good tie-in, and keeping it completely separate from what they're doing with the DC cinematic universe is a good idea.
I'm way behind on Arrow, so.
How far?
Oh, I'm halfway through the first season.
You're not way behind. You're like
quick story on that.
To give you the cliff notes.
I started watching it on Netflix, got all the way done, didn't realize that when I got done, they had only put out half the first season on Netflix.
Yeah.
So when it came for season 2, then I happened to look back. I got caught up in different stuff, and when I went back, season 2 was released, but then wait. Oh, here's the second half of season 1 too. So now I'm a season and a half behind, and I'm like, and I had other things going on, and I
better get to watching because
I know
this season is going to be brutal.
Because what is this, season 4 now?
Yeah.
So I've got a long way to go, and that's with it being like 45 minutes without commercials. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
So maybe by the end of the year, I'll have it all done. But yeah, I'll just ask retarded questions.
Your new elephant.
Yeah. I mentioned it, and you had forgotten about it. Heroes of Tomorrow is one I'm looking forward to.
I don't know, but I'm kind of mad about that show because my favorite character on there is Captain Cold, and the way they left it at the end of the season, him being gone, they better fucking bring him back, or I'm going to be pissed and I may be done.
Yeah,
if that character's not there, because he's one of my favorite characters. Though they are bringing back Prison Break.
What? They're bringing that show back?
Oh yeah, you didn't know about that?
No.
Both of them are in it, and they brought it back because of how well they did on Heroes of Tomorrow. They were able to talk them into letting them do another.
Please
another
tell me
series.
it's like
It's one of those
miniseries.
It is. It's one of those.
Okay, because the reason the show ended was because they got stupid.
Well,
and now you're going to bring it back because they're doing good on another show.
It's not that they got stupid. It's just that they were trying to tie up every possible little loose end so that they could end it with everyone having a happily ever after. Even though
they're criminals, they shouldn't have happy endings.
They're not criminals. That's the point.
Well,
they were turned. They were made into criminals.
Yeah. Well, as far as getting back to Heroes of Tomorrow, as far as Captain Cold goes, my favorite character on that show, and I had watched when I was a kid, Superman and Friends and saw Captain Cold on that show, but didn't think anything of him.
Yeah. Now,
because of the way he's portrayed on Heroes of Tomorrow, easily one of my favorite.
Do not watch his cartoon version.
No.
Under any circumstances, do not watch anything with him as a cartoon version, because that cartoon version is nothing. They need to do what they did with Nick Fury. They need to go back and recreate Captain Cold as Wentworth Miller in the comic books, because that character, he has become that character. Yeah. Everyone looks at Captain Cold as that character, and they would be sorely disappointed if they read a comic book with Captain Cold in it.
Yeah, the way he portrays that character is... Yeah, Cold.
Absolutely.
He
his mannerisms, the way he talks, his cadence, everything is just that character now. So
perfect. I love it. And like you said, Flash is another show that I'm looking forward to,
which is going to have some interesting things.
Oh yeah, I mean they've already teased
Wally
a bunch
West
of stuff.
And
Kevin Smith has, as people already know, if you don't know, he is directing another episode. He's also directing an episode on Supergirl as well too, but he's actually tweeted out some things and put some stuff out there, some photos from the set, so you kind of get a little hint of what's going to happen, what to expect.
Yeah, I think he said this one's going to be more action packed than lovey dovey.
Yeah,
so
I mean, hell, not Tom Welling, but Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies, he is going to be apparently a reoccurring character on this season.
The dad from Smallville, isn't he Kara's dad in the show?
No, the dad from Smallville is John Schneider.
Yes,
who was on Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know if he's on.
God dang it! It's driving me nuts. I can't remember who the person is. I need to call a friend. Yeah. I need to phone a friend.
Would you like to phone a friend? That's my Regis.
Driving me nuts.
That's my Regis impersonation. But
I'll know next week. Just remind me.
Yeah. So, is there just as we wrap up here? Are there any shows you just finished that we didn't talk about that we probably won't talk about for a while?
Power, and I'm not sure if it's over, but Power is a really good show.
That's the show that is executive produced by 50 Cent. Isn't it?
Yeah, and he's in it.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he's actually a major player. It's really good. Believe it or not, it's really good. And then the other one is Ray Donovan with Liev Schreiber. Oh, I love that show. It's such a guilty pleasure for me.
I'm just about to finish watching. I got to watch the last episode of Vice Principals on HBO.
Oh, I did see that. I saw the end of that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you watch the whole season?
Yeah.
I
saw the whole season.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't spoil that for me. We can spoil it for the listeners.
Believe it or not,
I heard the last season.
Saw that episode, and I saw that show, and I was like, I am not watching this because it does not look good at all. And then there were those times where you just have nothing to watch, and it's 3:00 in the morning, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it. And then I got hooked.
Yeah.
The characters are ridiculous. The storylines are just ridiculously stupid. The characters in it are ridiculous. It's a ridiculous show, but for whatever reason, I keep watching it.
Danny McBride is great. I'll tell you who's also great is Walton Goggins.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
He's such a strange dude in general.
Yeah,
his characters that he plays.
That character,
are always
it's
so odd.
A buddy of mine was like, "Is that character gay?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
No,
I think that's just the way he's portraying him.
He's metrosexual. He's just really metrosexual.
Yeah,
he wants to look tight and done up all the time. And, he's the kind of guy that gets mani-pedis.
And I can't help but think that some of the characteristics that has is from when he had his stint on Sons of Anarchy playing the transvestite.
Yeah.
Was it transvestite? I think it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was just cross-dressed or what.
Tiggs.
Yeah. Tiggs.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that character, he's a handful in this, and most definitely.
Yeah, like I said, I got one more episode left to watch on that.
It's a good episode.
We just started watching Narcos. If you have not seen that,
Is it worth watching?
We've watched one episode, and I tell you what, if I hadn't had other shit going on in this last week, I would have already binged it and had that first season done.
Oh! How could we not fucking talk about it? Oh, along that lines, Marco Polo. Have you watched that?
Have not.
Marco Polo is good. Okay. It's good.
I have a problem though with period pieces because I know that's set in, like it
doesn't matter. It's good. Trust me. There's fighting. There's sex. There's like martial arts.
The problem I have with it, and obviously Game of Thrones sounds like it could be the same way, and why I have no issues with that, I don't know, but. It's just I have trouble relating to anything that's going on.
Why? There's a bunch of white guys in it, a bunch of Spaniards. You're good.
That's racist.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny when it's turned on you, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. All right, so that is the end of our show. Again, we thank you.
And if you want to find us online, you can find me, Vic Miller, at MillerKing51 on the interwebs, as well as online playing games, mostly Blizzard games, at Black and Angry on Xbox One and online on Battle.net.
And you can find me at NKO Gonzo on Twitter and on Letterboxd too. If you're on there, you can see what I review as far as my movie watching goes. You can follow the show on Twitter as well too. That's Miller Times Pod. Again,
you can also hear us every week on the Showdown podcast.
Yes.
Every Thursday we have an episode coming up, either a Survivor Series or a challenge. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy doing that show, but we don't do anything about TV, and that's what led us to this profound Miller Times podcast.
Yeah, and if you're listening on our Showdown feed again, we thank you for sticking around and listening to us carry on about TV. And feel free to head over to iTunes or whatever other platform that you listen to and subscribe to us on there. And you can also, if you want to email us, we do have an email address that is slowly coming up on my phone. It's millertimespod@gmail.com.
You can email us there and tell us about some of the shows you like. We might talk about them.
Yeah. And so, again, for Vic, I'm Corey. Thank you for listening.